Welcome back to another training video. So in this video, we train our hamstrings. This is the last night of week 8, which we always finish with hamstrings. And I have to tell you, man, I had a really good hamstring workout tonight. I had a phenomenal pump. How about you? How was your workout tonight? Was it good?
It wasn't the best. I'm having more trouble feeling the hamstrings over the quads, but I think it's more like I've talked about before, the mobility issue. Because I realize I don't have a lot of forward movement to get a good stretch on the hamstring. I can only move so very little, and then I'm just stuck. So I definitely need to work on that mobility to be able to get deeper stretches for doing the Romanian deadlifts and stuff like that. Because I'm not at a point where the movement is comfortable for me to really feel it. So I have to keep the weight very light, because if I go heavy, it just gets even worse.
Yeah, so there's two ways to train the hamstrings, right? There's a elongated stretch movement under load, which is deadlifts, back extensions, Romanian deadlifts, stiff-legged deadlifts, and then there's your curling movements, like your seated leg curls, your lying leg curls, your standing leg curls. So there's the curling motion, and then the stretching. I always felt like the elongated stretch motion under load, like the Romanian deadlifts, those type of movements always worked really, really well for my hamstring development. The curling movements, don't get me wrong, I feel those dead center of the belly of the hamstring, but I never felt like I really got much out of them, regardless of pump or size or strength. I never really felt like I benefited much from them. I always felt like I got a lot more out of that. But for your issue, you need to just work on stretching your hamstrings, man, because that's your biggest issue right now. If you just started stretching probably 2 times a day, once in the morning, once in the evening, for about maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just bend over, take a deep breath, exhale slowly, and let your body sink deeper and deeper into the stretch, like as you're trying to touch your toes, and then stop and hold that position through a couple breaths. Take another very deep breath, and then just let your body relax into the stretch. And then do that for about 10, 15 seconds. Stand up, bend your knees, and then give it like 30 seconds to a minute, and then go back into it. And then do a couple sets of that. That's the way I do my hamstrings. Like I'll bend over about 15, 20 seconds, get a couple deep breaths, and then I work on the stretch, and then I'll pull out, and then I'll bend my knees and walk a little bit, then I'll go back into the stretch, and I'll do it like I'm working out, like sets. So I'll work out the stretching motion as if I was trying to build up a muscle. It's the same basic thing what I do. And I think that would really help you with your movement, with your mobility as far as it goes for the stretching, elongating portions of the deadlifts, because a stretch position under load, I think, is probably one of the better things you could do for building muscle.
Yeah, because right now, the best I could do was I had to more angle my feet out to try and keep them close while trying to do a Romanian deadlift, and that allows me a little bit more range of motion. But it's just it's an awkward feeling for my legs in general. So if I can get the stretch kind of working for me and better, and to where I can straighten my feet out more over time, I think that'll help me in the long run for all my lifts that involve any sort of leg movement.
Yeah, absolutely. And just the more mobile you are and the more flexible you are, the better your workouts will be in general for everything. But I think being in a stretched position under load, like I said, is probably one of the better ways to build the hamstrings. But you can't neglect the contraction or the squeeze or the load or everything else. But I think some people actually overload the movement too much, and they go into a stretch position too aggressively, and that's how they pop tendons too. There's tons of videos of people popping bicep tendons left and right, and it's normally almost always on the preacher curl bench. They go super heavy, and they go all the way into a full stretch where the biceps at its absolute most weakest, and then they just pop up. There goes both the tendons or one of the tendons, and I think there's a point where there's a safe amount of load in that position. If you could get it for a minimum of 8 reps, full 100% elongated stretch, yeah, that's good. But if you're going for a 1 or 3 rep max, I don't really think it's a safe position to put any joint or muscle into, being at a full stretch. I just think it's dangerous. If people want to do it, by all means, go ahead and do it. But it's your body, not mine. But that's just how I feel about it. I don't like putting myself in a elongated stretch under a heavy load. And don't get me wrong, it can happen with lighter weights too. But majority of the time, I see it always happen with heavier loads and people trying to do a 1 or 3 rep max on a movement that really you don't have any business trying to do a 1 or 3 rep max in. It's just this isn't this isn't a movement for testing your strength. Like, I mean, I guess everyone's kind of curious to see what they can do at the end of the day, but I just don't think the risk is worth the reward because it's like, who really cares how much you can side lateral raise? Who's getting excited about someone's preacher curl max or someone's like skull crusher max or something? No, nobody honestly cares about that, but maybe you and your close buddies, and that's cool if y'all brag around, y'all circle and stuff like that, and y'all boast about it. But honestly, outside of that, the risk really isn't worth it. At least not to me. It is like I'd rather play it safe. And even when I was powerlifting, like I never try to put myself in a position that was compromised of risk of injury.
Yeah. Like if I can, like I said, work on the mobility, get better at that, it'll help me vastly in pretty much every movement that I do. But I always like throughout this week and like last week and stuff, I've always had like certain days the exercises they'll hit just right, and then the next time we do that exercise that week, like arms, the beginning of the week, I'll get like a good pump and a good feel on every movement, and then the second time we do arms, I do everything or whatever, and I was like, I just didn't feel it the same. But then the next time around, the ones that I felt it on really good, I might not feel it at all. But then the ones I didn't feel it on, that's the ones that get me real good that week. And it just varies back and forth. It's been like that for most all of them. But with the hamstrings itself, because we focus quad one day, hamstring the other. I always get like a feeling of I didn't get much out of it, but then like a day or two later, I'll notice like my hamstrings are a bit tender and stuff like that. So I know I am working them. It's just I need to continue to better my body itself. That way I can get more potential and outcome like out of all of the stuff that I am doing for the hamstrings.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, because like what you said, like it happens to me too. Like I could be doing one movement, then all of a sudden it's like I'm not really feeling it that night, and I'm not getting nothing out of it, it seems. And then all of a sudden, the next time around, I do that same movement, and now it's just clicking, and everything is just like lined up. It's like, oh man, this exercise tonight, this is where it's at, this movement. But then the next time around, it's just like, man, I'm just not feeling this, and it's not doing nothing for me. But I tell you what, I felt was a game changer tonight. I've never done these in my life. I don't know why it's never dawned on me to try them. But I tried out doing one-legged seated calf raise. So instead of doing seated calf raises at the same time, I did one leg and then the other in the seated calf raise machine. And that was a game changer. That felt so good in my calf. I normally feel calves the best on donkey calf raises and standing calf raises. And, then from there, and when I say standing calf raises, I mean standing on flat ground, holding two dumbbells, and then just going from a relaxed position to a contracted position and not dipping the heel past. And then after that, it would be like a one-legged calf raise, and then the machine calf raise, then the leg press calf raise, and then the seated calf raise machine, right? That's always like the bottom of the barrel for how it feels for me as far as it goes for like the contraction, the pump, and just the overall work of the calf. But changing it up and doing one calf and then the other calf tonight, I felt it exactly where I wanted it and exactly how I needed it because I'm not going to say because, and I'm just throwing it out there, but I'm wondering if it's because when I do both my legs at the same time, I'm locked into a position with both my ankles and my knees and my hips, and I can't move into a more natural, comfortable position. It's just an awkward position that it feels to me. So when I go one leg, I can lean over, I can lean forward, I can shift my hip, I can move my ankle around or get my foot in a better position or alignment to my calf, and it allows me to dip, stretch, flex, and contract way better doing one at a time. And it just felt really good to me tonight. And I tell you what, I think I'm going to add those in every single time I train my calves. I'm not going to say forever, but at least for a good while, I'm going to add those in until I feel like I've drained those dry for as far as I could take them, and I was able to do very, very, very lightweight, but have a very heavy burn and contraction in it.
Yeah. And like with the seated calf raise that we have, for me, I can do with my feet straight and I can angle them out, but angling in, I'm not really able to angle my feet in on that thing because of how, again, my mobility issues and my knees and stuff like that. If I try to angle in, my knees knock together and it just pinches and it keeps my feet pretty much straight. So with the one leg style, I'm able to do that more easy because like you're saying, like I'm not really locked in as much. It allows me the flexibility to kind of move the leg around a bit more, while the other one is kind of out of the way and it's not stopping me from being able to, I guess, angle my hips right or whatever it might be. So that is kind of nice being able to hit multiple angles like on it while, I mean, only doing one leg at a time, so it might take a little bit longer, but it's not terrible.
Yeah, exactly. So that's how I felt too. But I think that's going to be it for me on this one, man. Is there anything else you want to add, or are you good?
I'm good.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for stopping by and checking us out. I appreciate you. If you've made it this long in the video, if you have, we're not going to be mad at you. If y'all want to go ahead and leave a like and subscribe to the channel, we won't be mad at you guys. We promise. If y'all want to do that, y'all are more than welcome to go ahead and do that. But all right, thanks for watching. Until next time.
Yep. Check you later.